Hi, this is Mrs. Hasmer, and today's lesson is Eureka Math, 6th grade, Module 1, Lesson 8, Equivalent Ratios defined through the value of a ratio. Okay, so classwork, exercise 1, it's on page S33 in your workbooks. It tells you to circle any equivalent ratios from the list, so that would be this list. If you are doing this online, you can put an X for the first set of equivalent ratios and put a W next to the second set of equivalent ratios. Okay, so first off, they give us the ratios 1 to 2. I gave you a small video of me working out these problems and changing them into fractions, so you can watch that to help you understand. So the ratio 1 to 2, I'm going to change it into a fraction, and it's 1 over 2, okay? And if you watch the video, they'll also tell you the value of the ratio, okay? And this ratio, 5 over 10, I would make it into a fraction, and then I could reduce it, meaning there's a number that goes into both these numbers with no leftovers, so the numerator and the denominator, by 5. I can reduce by 5. So 5 goes into 5 one time, 5 goes into 10 two times. So this would actually be 1 over 2. So these two are equivalent. They are equal. Okay, ratio 6 to 16. If I change it to a fraction, it'd be 6 would be my numerator, 16 would be my denominator. I divide both by 2. 2 goes into 6 3 times, and 2 goes into 16 8 times. So this would be 3 over 8, okay? And ratio for 12 to 32, I know those are both even numbers, and I can make it into a fraction, 12 over 32, and I know I can divide both by 2. But there's a bigger number that goes into both these numbers, and I know it's 4. So 4 goes into 12 3 times, and 4 goes into 32 8 times. So this would be 3 over 8 as well. So both of these two would be equivalent ratios, and these two would be equivalent ratios. So you'd circle it if you have the workbook. If you do not have the workbook and you're working from home, you would put a WW, meaning these two are equal. I'm sorry, XX and then WW, so that they were equivalent. So I'd know which ones you wanted to include. Okay, so it says find the value of the following ratios. Answer is a fraction, but rewrite the fraction using the largest possible unit. This is also on page S33. So ratio 1 to 2 would be 1 over 2. Ratio 5 to 10 would be 5 over 10, but you would reduce it, and we reduced it to 1 over 2. Ratio 6 to 16, we reduced it to 3 over 8. That would be your value of a ratio. And the ratio 12 to 32, we reduced it, and the value of the ratio was 3 to 8. And what do you notice about the value of the equivalent ratios? The value is the same, right? Okay. Exercise 3. All right, so Taivon is training for a duathlon, which is a race that consists of running and cycling. The cycling leg is longer than the running leg of the race. So while Taivon trains, he rides his bike more than he runs. During training, Taivon runs 4 miles for every 14 miles he rides his bike. So 4 to 14. So we identified the ratio. Now they want you to find its value. So make it into a fraction, 4 over 14. And then what number goes into the numerator and denominator with no leftovers? So that would be a 2, because they're both even numbers. 2 goes into 4 2 times, so 2 would be your numerator, and your denominator would be 7, because you divide 14 by 2, and that would be 7. So it would be 2 to 7, okay? Now, B says, when Taivon completed all of his training for the duathlon, the ratio of the total number of miles he ran to the total number of miles he cycled was 80 to 280. Is this consistent with Taivon's training schedule? Explain why or why not. Okay, so we can divide 80 by 40. It goes into there twice. We can divide 280 by 40, and 40 goes into there 7 times, so it's 2 to 7. So yes, it says explain why or why not. It is consistent with Taivon's training schedule because it's 2 to 7, or 2 over 7. C, in one training session, Taivon ran 4 miles and cycled 7 miles. Did his training session represent an equivalent ratio of the distance he ran to the distance he cycled? Explain why or why not. Well, if he ran 4 to 7, our ratio is 2 to 7. Well, I mean, that was if it was equivalent. So it is not equal because he this time ran 4 and he cycled 7. If he ran 2 and cycled 7, then it would be equivalent, but it is not. I think that's it. Okay, thank you.